In this video, we're going to start to look at evaluating algebraic expressions. Hopefully you've taken the time to look over the early part of the notes where we describe a little bit of introductory information about algebra. Now we're going to focus on the first main area of algebra, which is evaluating an algebraic expression. So to evaluate means to replace the variables in our expression with numerical values and then turn around and simplify. So as an example here, consider the expression 4x plus 3y. So we have the two variables x and y, and again typically we use letters to represent our variables. And so we're going to be asked here to evaluate for a particular set of numerical values for x and y. So in this particular example, we're asked to evaluate when x equals 3 and y equals 7. Now my advice, when you replace a variable with a number, write that expression in parentheses. So when I replace my x here with 3, I'm going to go in and write that as 4 parentheses 3. Because if I instead, didn't use my grouping symbols there and I just had 4 times 3, maybe I write it really lightly, I might accidentally think that's 43. So we want to make sure that we don't make mistakes, so we write things in grouping symbols anytime we're substituting it. That reminds us that it's multiplication. And then we can go ahead here and multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 7 is 21, following our order of operations. And then 12 plus 21 is 33. This idea of using grouping symbols is even more important when we have numbers that we're plugging in that are negative. So here let's take that same expression, 4x plus 3y, and let's go ahead and plug in negative 5 and positive 2. Negative 5 and positive 2. So again, I'm going to write it down in grouping symbols. And the reason is, again, if I don't use the grouping symbols, I may initially think of it as multiplication, but maybe I'll forget, and maybe I'll think it's minus 5 instead of 4 times negative 5. So really a good idea here to keep my grouping symbols. And this is even more important later on when things are being raised to powers. So anytime you do that, just replace the variable in the expression with its numerical value. And my advice again is write those in grouping symbols. Write those in grouping symbols. Okay, at this point we're now just ready to simplify. So we go through and do 4 times negative 5, which will give us negative 20. Plus a positive 3 times 2, and we plus 6, and then we just finish the problem off by adding negative 20 plus 6 to get negative 14.